We continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto First, Shloka number 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tata Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Devaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Shtiki Hare Krishna. Shloka number 24 to 26. Tad Bhagavata
आयेन एतत् भगवतः ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम्
मिथ निघ्नन्ति भूतानि
मिथ
भावयन्ति
निघ्नन्ति
च
भूतानि
यत्मिथ
भावयन्ति च यन्मिथः
जलौकसां जले यद्वत्
जलौकसां जले यद्वत्
अदन्ति अणियसः महन्त अदन्ति अणियसः
महन्ति अदन्त
महन्त
अनियसः
दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन्
दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन्
महान्तः बलिनः मिथः
महान्तः बलिनः मिथः
एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः
एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः
महद्भिः इतरान् विभुः
महद्भिः इतरान् विभुः
यदून् यदुभिः अन्योन्यम्
यदुभिः अन्योन्यम्
भूभारान् संजहारः
भूभारान् संजहारः
प्रायेण एतत् भगवतः
प्रायन् एतद् भगवतः
ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम्
ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम्
मिथ निघ्नन्ति भूतानि
मिथ निघ्नन्ति भूतानि
भावयन्ति च यत्मिथः
भावयन्ति च यत्मिथः
जल औकसां जले यत्वत्
जलौ एकसां जले यद्वत्
महान्तः अदन्ति अणियसः
महान्तः अदन्ति अनियसः
दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन्
दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन्
महान्तः बलिनः मिथः
महान्तः बलिनः मिथः
एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः
एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः
मद्भिः इतरान् विभुः
महद्भिः इतरान् विभुः
यदून् यदुभिः अन्योन्यम्
यदुभिः अन्योन्यम्
भूभारान् संजहारः
भूभारान् संजहारः
प्रायेण एतद् भगवतः ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम् मिथ निघ्नन्ति भूतानि भावयन्ति च यत्मिथः जल औकसां जले यत्वत् महान्त अदन्ति अणियसः दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन् महान्त बलिनः मिथः एवं बलिष्ठ यदुभिः महद्भिः इतरान् विभुः यदून् यदुभिः अन्योन्यम् भूभारां संजहारः हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण प्रायेण एतत् भगवतः ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम् मिथ निघ्नन्ति भूतानि भावयन्ति च यन्मिथः जल ओकसां जले यद्वत् महान्तः अदन्ति अनियसः दुर्बलान् बलिनः राजन् महान्तः बलिनः मिथः एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः महद्भिः इतरान् विभुः यदु यदु अन्योद्भिः अन्योन्यभूभारान् संजहारः
रूपा में सीता माता जी
कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत हरे कृष्णा। प्रायेण यत् भगवता ईश्वरः विशेष्टितं विशेष्टितं मितः नै नैज्ञादिभूतानि भावयन्ति च यत् मितः जलोकसं जले यद्वद् महान्ता आदनि अन्यसा दुर्लभं बलिन राजन् महन्ता बलिन मितः एवं बलिस्त्रिया यदुभिः महद्भिः इतरहान् विभुः यदुभिः अन्योन्यं भूभारं संजहारः. Thank you, Mataji.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Actually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord and personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. O king, as in the ocean, the bigger and stronger aquatic swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the supreme personality of Godhead to lighten the burden of the earth has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to the anthropologist, there is nature's law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest, but they do not know that behind the law of nature is the supreme direction of the supreme personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed under the direction of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the good will of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and nations. The surest way to the path of peace, therefore, is dovetailing everything to the established rule of the Lord. The established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of the Lord. No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, and give anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord. Discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. Such action is called yoga karmasu uh, kaushalam, or actions performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing a thing perfectly. In the material world, the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are laws, because in the material world there is disparity between conditioned souls due to the everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. This very mentality of lording it over the material nature is the root cause of conditioned soul, a conditioned life. And to give facility to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created a disparity between conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and the weaker in every species of life. The mentality of lording it over the material nature and the creation has naturally created a disparity, and therefore the law of struggle for existence in the spiritual world. There is no such disparity. nor is there such a struggle for existence. In the spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternally. There is no disparity because everyone wants to render service to the Supreme Lord, and no one wants to imitate the Lord in becoming the beneficiary. The Lord being creator of everything, including the living being, actually is the proprietor and enjoyer of everything that be. But in the material world, by the spell of Maya or illusion, this eternal relation with the supreme personality of Godhead is forgotten, and so the living being is conditioned under the law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा we try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15. The Pandavas retired. Timely Shloka 24 to 26. Here, uh, uh, describe that the people sometimes kill one another and sometimes they protect one another. And next shlokas they told that bigger and stronger aquatics follow the smaller and weaker ones, and uh, because of the supreme personality of Godhead desire, or he enlightened the burden of the earth and engaged the doctor like that they engaged a stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. And they told that why the eternal relation with supreme personality of God head forget or forgotten, and the living being is the condition under the laws of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. That's reason described here. Prabhuji will tell us in detail. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubecha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavane bhyo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for a wonderful session as usual. So here we are seeing how Arjuna is reflecting on the mysterious ways of the Supreme Lord and the events that led to the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. In fact, in these shlokas, there is a revelation of the divine plan of Krishna in reducing the burden of the earth by orchestrating the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. So these three verses, they are highlighting the divine plan behind the apparent chaos, the role of Krishna in maintaining the balance of the universe. And as Mataji has rightly summarized, this is what is the actual theme of discussion in these particular shlokas. And Prabhupada ji as usual, has been so much wonderfully explaining us with explanations against each and every word to easily make it understandable for us about the supreme will of the Lord and how He has ensured that the stronger is the one which is maintained. So, the principle of survival of the fittest. So, what we also understand here is that if we are really looking for peace, then we need to understand that not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So, the surest path to peace will be to dovetail everything to establish the rule of the Lord. And what is that established rule? It is whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of Lord Shri Krishna. We should not do anything against the will of the Lord. So, though it is mentioned that discretion is the better part of the valor, we must understand how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to Lord and which may not be pleasing to the Lord. So, whether action is good or bad has to be judged whether the Lord will be pleased or displeased by such actions. There should be no room for any personal whims. Whatever we do, we should always be guided by the pleasure of Krishna. And then that becomes yoga karma sukhaushalam, which means that whatever actions we are doing, they are linked with the Supreme Lord. And that is something which will finally bring about perfection in everything that we do. So here, the 24th shloka, if you see, it is highlighting the cosmic law governed by Krishna, where both creation as well as destruction, it exists side by side. प्रायेण एतद् भगवत ईश्वरस्य विचेष्टितम्. This is indeed the mysterious way of the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna is actually acknowledging that the events that led to the destruction of the Yadu dynasty were part of Krishna's divine plan, vicheshtitam. So this refers to Lord's mysterious, incomprehensible actions. Then he's saying, Mitha nignanti bhutani, living beings engaged in mutual conflict. So in the material world, everyone, they often fight and compete with another. And this is due to ignorance, ego, and selfish desires. Bhavayanti cha yanmitha. And they also cooperate with one another. And at other times, they work together, support one another. So this duality of conflict and cooperation is actual and natural aspect of material existence. If you feel that we are going to be profited by being cooperative, we are cooperative. And if we feel that we will be having a loss because of cooperation, we increase the conflicts. In either case, both become the source of bondage in this material world. Now here, Krishna is addressed as Ishvara, Ishvarasya. That means the controller of all. So though there is so much of chaos, Krishna is the ultimate controller who orchestrates everything according to his own divine plan. Everything depends on Krishna's will. And that is why we always say this. Krish, मारे कृष्ण राखे कौन राखे कृष्ण मारे कौन. So this shloka is trying to teach us to see beyond the surface of events and recognize the hand of Krishna in all that happens. It reminds us that both conflict and cooperation are part of Krishna's plan to maintain balance and give living beings the direction to go back on the path towards self realization. And immediately then Arjuna uses the analogy of aquatic creatures to explain the natural order of material world, where the strong dominate the weak. जल ओकसाम जले यद्वत् महान्तः अदयन्त अनियसः. Just as in water, the larger aquatics swallow the smaller ones. So we know that the ecosystem, the larger creatures prey on the smaller ones. So this is a natural law, and this ensures balance as well as survival. So it is not that this has to be stopped completely. No. Durbalan balinah rajan, mahantah balinah mithah. The strong devour the weak, and the greater among the strong devour one another. So similarly in material world, the strong dominate. And even among us, if there are many strong, then even there is competition and conflict. This is the nature of material existence, which is driven by struggle for survival and dominance. And that is why the natural hypothesis of survival of the fittest. So this shloka highlights the harsh realities of material world where competition and conflict are inherent. It serves as a reminder that material power and strength are temporary, ultimately leading to suffering. And the only way to transcend this cycle is through devotion to Krishna. So, herein, when we see the analogy of fish in water, it is actually representing the material world where the law of survival prevails. The powerful always dominating the weak, whether in nature, society, or even celestial battles. So, this is not a principle of cruelty, but this is a principle which is designed by the Lord to ensure proper order in the creation. And Arjuna further points that this was something as an opportunity used by Krishna, who used the Yadus to fulfill his divine mission of relieving the earth's burden. So we know that if there is a fire, then it will burn everything, but it will consume itself as well. So similarly, the Yadus destroyed themselves, completing the divine plan. So this proves that Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, is the ultimate orchestrator of cosmic events. एवं बलिष्ठैः यदुभिः मद्भिः तरान् विभुः. So in this way, Krishna uses the mighty Yadus. The Yadus were powerful, heroic, but their strength was ultimately used by Krishna to achieve a greater purpose. Yadun ayadubhihi anyonyah, causing them to destroy one another. So Krishna orchestrated events in such a way that the Yadus turned against each other, leading to their mutual destruction. Bhubharan Sanjahara, and thus removed the burden of the earth. So initially the earth was burdened because of the demons, but later on it was overburdened by the presence of two powerful and unrighteous warriors. So by causing the Yadus to destroy each other, Krishna alleviated the burden and restored balance. So this shloka is trying to make us understand the profound wisdom and compassion of Krishna. Even though the destruction of the Yadus appeared tragic, it served a greater purpose in maintaining cosmic order, protecting dharma. should serve as a reminder to us that Krishna's actions are always for the ultimate good, even if they seem harsh or incomprehensible to us in the beginning. So these three shlokas together make us understand four important aspects. The first is the divine plan. Krishna orchestrates all events according to his divine plan. Both conflict and cooperation are part of Krishna's design to guide living beings towards spiritual realization. Because that is something which Krishna is always striving to achieve. The second is the harsh realities of the material world, competitive, brutal nature of material existence. So this shloka ideally serves as a reminder for the futility of material power and the necessity why we should be seeking spiritual liberation. The third point is the Lord's compassionate mission. Krishna used the Yadus to fulfill his mission of relieving the earth's burden. So it shows that the Lord's actions, though sometimes mysterious, are always for the greater good. And the fourth part is the importance of surrender. We need to surrender to the Supreme Lord and trust in His wisdom, even when we cannot understand His actions. So these shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, they are offering profound insight into the nature of material world, the divine plan of Krishna. Arjuna's reflection on the destruction of the Yadu dynasty serves as a reminder of transient nature of material power and the importance of surrendering to the Lord's will. And as Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridadeshu arjuna tishtati kshamayan sarva bhutani yantra arudhani maya. The Supreme Lord is situated in the hearts of all living beings, O Arjuna, and is directing their wanderings according to their karma as if they were seated on a machine made of material nature. So we need to strive to understand the Lord's divine plan, surrender to Him with faith and devotion, knowing that He is the ultimate protector and guide for everyone. So, takeaway for us will be Krishna's divine will, temporary nature of material power, the law of karma and detachments. So, while destruction may seem harsh, it serves a higher purpose in maintaining universal order. By understanding these truths, we can develop detachment from material ambitions and fully surrender to Krishna, knowing that He alone is the supreme controller and protector for everyone. And as soon as we surrender fully, Krishna ensures that we are abiding by every necessary activity which will help us in having self realization. And then Krishna will Himself on His own make us realize everything. Thank you very much.